I'm Josh with Blue Collar Ballistics, and you are...
Sven at Manticore Arms.
Okay. What do you guys got here?
Well, we're a design house and a manufacturer, so we design a lot of products for other companies. You probably handled some of them, didn't even realize it. But we also have our own line of products. So we've got hand guards for the various rifles, stocks, safeties, muzzle devices. We basically specialize in bullpup rifles, so the Hellion, all the IWI, Tavor stuff, and...
yeah, I seen you had the TS-12 over there.
Yep, we do. Yeah, so back there is all our stuff. It's all equipped with all our parts we make for them. And yeah, so we've got that. We have a new thing we're working on here called the RAD-15 for roller assist delay. And the RAD-15 is based on something I experienced, which is blowback AR-15s, pistol caliber, like 9mm. They have a pretty good recoil on semi-auto and even more on full. It's a very bouncy gun to shoot because it's a simple blowback design. There are some other companies out there that have come up with locking systems to make the pistol caliber shoot a little smoother. But one of the things I didn't like when I saw it was that the systems, they're all expensive. There's a lot of proprietary parts in it. There's a lot going on. So it's kind of an AR, but kind of not. And what I was trying to do was get the smoothness of an MP5, which I was shooting in a shooting course on semi and full auto. I was trying to get that, but with AR ergonomics. As I was shooting the course during the day, I found the ergonomics on the MP5, the safety location, some of the things, mag insertions, whatnot, they're not as good as an AR-15. So what I was trying to do was combine the two together. And what we came up with, or I came up with, I guess, I designed it, is a patent pending system here where you can see right here, this is a steel locking shoulder held in by an E-clip. There's one on each side. So it's an aluminum receiver, steel locking shoulders in here. We'll pop it open, show you what's going on.
So is this, can you use just a regular AR lower on this then?
Yeah, so the only parts that are proprietary on our system are the A3 upper with the locking shoulder and the bolt. Everything else, stock AR-15 parts. This is a Colt mag fed lower, but a Glock mag fed lower, Endo mags, pretty much any system that will allow you to feed pistol caliber in an AR into the upper will work on this. That was one of the other goals, was that it'd be cross-platform, you know, cross-magazine compatible with basically every option that's out there for the AR-15. So what we did is put rollers on the back of an AR-15 9mm bolt. So essentially this is what you consider a standard blowback bolt, the face, the extractor, everything like this. You've got a gas key, which is not really a gas key, but it's the key that keeps the bolt from rolling. And you've got this locking wedge back here and these rollers. So what happens is when the bolt goes forward, your buffer and the spring are pressing against this piece here, pushes that, so it pushes the rollers out and they lock in the locking shoulders. Now, this locking wedge is very similar to how an MP5 works, where there's a specific angle on there, and that angle amplifies essentially the mass of the buffer. So what we're doing is, without adding weight, we're adding locking time where it keeps the bolt locked, and the recoil is having to work against these rollers to push this piece out, which pushes on the buffer. So by controlling the locking angle here or the weight of the buffer, we typically run H3s, we found that works best. You can really control how much recoil is in the system. And what that does is, when you get it dialed in, you're not getting that bounce of especially on a blowback pistol caliber AR, where it's slamming into your shoulder. On semi, you notice it. On full, it's really bad.
This just makes it smoother then.
Exactly. In an ideal world, if you really can get it dialed in, essentially what you're doing is the buffer is maybe just barely touching when it gets all the way on a full recoil stroke, or maybe not even that. And there's enough room for it to cycle back and forth without slamming when it does it.
So with this here, is the only function for this to push these out?
Correct.
Or is there any type of locking mechanism when it's
This is a purely mechanical system that works in the back. So what happened was, some of the other systems that are out there, they're trying to modify the front and there's not a lot of room to do stuff, but what I saw was on a standard blowback AR, you've got this area back here that's essentially the dead weight to slow the system down. So I just looked and found there was enough room to get everything in here. Now, one of the peculiarities we found of the locking system when we first I built proof of concepts, these rollers definitely work, because when we were trying to pull the charging handle, you're working to pull these in and push the buffer back, and it'd lock really hard. Like it was a ton of effort. Sometimes you'd have to jam it against your hip, you know, to mortar the gun. So part of our patent here is the key on here is actually spring-loaded, and if you look at the back there, there's a little projection that comes out. So what happens is when you pull on the charging handle, this pushes out, it pushes the buffer away, so there's nothing working against your locking piece anymore, or the locking wedge. So what it does is take all the locking force out of the gun, only when you're pulling the charging handle, but otherwise it's always locking when you're firing the gun or operating the gun.
That's pretty interesting. So how long did it take you to design this?
It was about 6 months to get the proof of concept where we knew something was working, and then about another year of experimenting, testing, refining to get it where we're at. So
is this out yet?
It's not out yet. So actually today's the first day we're showing this to the public. You know, we've got our patent in and it's patent pending. We're going to let the public shoot it. We've actually got 2 guns here, one set up with the roller lock, one set up exact same configuration except it's just a blowback bolt, which is another kind of neat feature of the gun. If for some reason you didn't have this bolt, you lose it or whatever, or something happens, you can run a standard blowback bolt in it and it'll still work. Certainly you have more bounce and all the disadvantages of that, but it can operate because these locking shoulders are recessed in a way they don't affect the function of the gun. And we actually, the reason we have one set up as blowback is so people can get an apples to apples. This is what blowback feels like. This is what our locking system feels like. So when you shoulder it and fire it, you can actually feel the difference.
Nice.
As far as when it's going to come out, we're hoping mid-2025. We want to make sure we do enough testing. There's a lot of configuration work we're doing to kind of find where the sweet spot is. One of our goals, too, as I said, the bolt's different, the upper receiver's different, but everything else, standard AR-15 parts. Your standard 9mm barrels, standard forends. So we're going to offer uppers for people who just want a factory turnkey, component. But we do plan to also offer just the bolt and the upper so that somebody can build their own upper the way they want.
And I understand this is an 8-inch barrel, you said?
Correct.
Are you guys going to offer it in like something like 16 so they don't have to get a SBR for it?
Yeah, so we're testing 8-inch, 16-inch barrels, a couple different barrel lengths, make sure there was no difference in how the system operates and it doesn't affect it. We are going to offer 16-inch also for people who, non-NFA firearm and just want it that way. And so that's an option also.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to shooting this, trying it out here once the line gets live.
Sounds good.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.